let's move on to more war and the potential of war. Anyway, this is a report that came out this morning from the Foreign Affairs Committee of the House of Commons, and they have titled it, or they've put on their graphic here at least, "A Rock and a Hard Place: Building Critical Mineral Resistance." We have published a report, they said, so let's have a look at the report. This is it. A rock and a hard place: building critical mineral resilience. The UK government has been behind its allies in acknowledging the aggressive capture of large parts of the critical minerals market by China, but has belatedly produced a critical minerals strategy and refresh. So what kind of minerals are they talking about? Well, there's 18 on the list. They are antimony, bismuth, cobalt, gallium, graphite, indium, lithium, magnesium, niobium, palladium, platinum, rare earth elements. There's a whole range of things, but they categorize that as one. Silicon, tantalum, tellurium, tin, tungsten, and vanadium. This is the list that they have. They go on to say, however, the scope of the strategy is too broad to be helpful as a guide to industry, which needs realistic targets and timeframes, nor does it convey the sense of urgency and need for immediate decisive action. So the question is why? We urge the government to define the UK's role in the critical minerals value chain and set out a coherent Team UK proposition to explain the UK's offer to global partners. The UK is in a global race for technological advantage, and it's one in which we cannot afford to be left behind. It must compete. That's the UK must compete, and compete hard, to demonstrate that the challenge of critical minerals is being taken seriously. So, in order to get an idea of what this is about, let's listen to Alicia Cairns speaking this morning. She is the chair of the select committee that released this report. Let's just have a listen to this.
And the big problem about this is people assume, and I did wrongly slightly, that it's about geology, but actually it's not. It's about geopolitics. And essentially we have a situation where we have a shared reliance on single source resources around the world, and we are seeing the aggressive capture of those markets by autocratic countries. This is about, it just so happens that a lot of critical minerals happen to be in what are currently autocratic states who don't respect the rules-based system. But it's the processing of critical minerals where we're seeing China going around the world buying up access to these resources, because if they control the ability to process them, then we see the kind of crises we saw in the pandemic with, microchips, Russia cutting off Europe's energy supplies, the world's grain supplies, even the crisis of the Panama Canal. We've seen the danger of relying on single sources.
So Russia and China, the big bad boys, because they've been a bit better at dealing with this than the rest of the world. But of course, we've got to remember that we have been in bed with Russia and China for many, many years in terms of our supply chains. And it's only in recent years when we've decided we need to change tack and perhaps build ourselves a brand new enemy to go to war with at some point in the future, that we are changing our story on this. And suddenly these autocratic regimes that we don't like anymore have to be dealt with. This is a pretty dangerous narrative that's being built here. It began being built with the Integrity Initiative campaign funded by the Foreign Office, and of course the various reports that have come out from Parliament in more recent years on Russia and on China. And we are going to go to war with these countries on a much more broad basis rather than the proxy war that we have in Ukraine at the moment. And this is all building the narrative for that, because we have to deal with this very soon, according to the likes of Alicia Cairns. It's a pretty dangerous development, and we need to keep an eye on it. Okay, let's move on then.